Oh, there we go. Yeah. Stop microphone. That's better. Yeah, I think we're on. Okay. But I hope my filters have come through. Let's have a quick check. Yeah, they're there. Sick. All right. So that is working sick. All right. I'm just going to run through these teams for the potty version, even though this thing says I have some frame skippage. I'm not too phased by that. We're just going to hook right in. Obviously, if you've got questions, just chuck them in the chat. And just a reminder, we have done 2 weeks of matchup previews now, so the data's flowing. It's looking pretty good. I think people who saw that Cleary, Gutho had good matchups, they might have jumped on that last week. Terrell May had a pretty good matchup, and he was nullified a little bit by Payne Haas. And Broncos were... they hit their upside, even though the Tigers have been pretty good defensively. So remember to check the YouTube channel on like a Wednesday night or Thursday morning for the matchup potty. All right, I'm going to jump into the teams. Blaze Talangi is finally named in replacement of Jack Cole with the HIA, and we see Luke Summerton starting over what's his face, Mitch Kenny. So pretty big news. I think if Talangi's on your waivers, everyone's going to be asking the question. I don't think he will be, but if he is, I think we need to take the gamble. Look, there's a big chance he comes in and just what he provides on attack, his dynamic running style is like pretty significant. From a Supercoach fantasy perspective, that first game where he filled in when Cleary did a HIA, he looked really good. It conveyed as well to Supercoach points for whatever reason. The job security is the risk, the issue, but I think you have to take the punt on. Blaze. Jack Cole owners, he's definitely a hold just to see how things shake out, because the issue with the Penrith Panthers, it's not been their attack. It's been their defence. So I think Ivan's still going to prioritise that. And Talangi could be just as good as Cole in defence and better in attack. So we'll just see how it goes. Supler in the chat says, would you waiver priority between Nicholson, Kant, Aitken, Nanai? Thanks. It's a tough one. Kant is really interesting, but I think for now, like Nicholson, it's hard. It's hard to go past Nicholson because of what he's showed and with his footwork. But what's his job security like when Hosking comes back? But Aitken as well. Aitken probably has the job security, but he's playing on the right edge. Aitken's a good Supercoach player, a bit of health risk. Nanai is actually the best of the whole group there, but he's not starting, is he? So until he's starting again, I'll just double check, because if he is starting, it's a bit different. No. So I don't think it's long until he does start over Bateman again. Bateman's been really bad. From that bunch there, mate, I would probably go with Nicholson due to his late footwork, and then I'd follow by Aitken. But there's a lot of risk with Nicholson. So if you just want the job security, I think you can go for Aitken. But the combination of upside and current form, I think Nicholson's probably number one there. But just, if it's a short-term play, it's actually probably Thomas Cant, honestly, is like the short term just this weekend for you, Super81 in the chat. But yeah, just with this situation here at the Panthers, Talangi's a high waiver ticket for sure. The rest of the season upside's too strong to ignore. Jack Cole is a hold just in case he gets his job back next week and Talangi goes back into the reserve situation. There's always a chance there's a late swap with Ivan. Oh, pardon me. So Schneider could come in instead of Blaze, and Blaze plays 14. Like, just bear that in mind. But I do expect Schneider to rest Summerton, who doesn't often play the full 80. He's a smaller bloke. He's definitely not a marquee type of hooker, Luke Summerton. So keep that in mind. On the Dolphins, I just want to call out the beast that is Daniel Saifidi. So he's just running the show. He's actually looking really good, both from a run perspective, offload perspective, and obviously close to the line. He had a line break, try assist, and then he had a try on the weekend. That won't continue, but just the minutes are good. The aggression, the pack leadership, it's exactly what you want. So anyone who grabbed Daniel Saifidi has luckily hit the jackpot. Could be a swap with Papali'i and Smith as well. This one's pretty interesting, a bit to shake out here. Edwards is back into Laurie. I think he can let go of until we see more of Edwards getting hurt. Actually, no, Laurie's probably a stash because during Origin he'll play and Edwards is a risk of re-injury. So if he's a luxury stash, Laurie. Shout out to Gutho drafters. You've hit the jackpot. Same as Couchman. I think he's looking really good. Is Dylan Egan a play? Probably only in deep leagues. For Titans, I don't love recommending Sami because of the injury risk, but he really has been solid. So, and he's on the Jaden Campbell edge, which I think is really, really good for him. Bo Fermor back to a edge back row spot's really good for him. Could be a late switch, which would be pretty frustrating for firmer drafters if he continues going into the centres. I just don't know if that'll be the case. Like, I don't see the value in that. For feeder owners, yeah, bit of a headache. Pardon me, but I think with Fafita, you just have to hold him, and I think you can start him. Probably not captaining him like you would if you did start, but you're definitely just playing him, and he'll do enough. The form will turn, the tries will come around. I think he's a little bit underdone. I think he's building into the season. I'm not against what I've seen. At least the defensive work rate's there. That's going to keep him in the mix. Dom Young didn't get dropped in the end, but Hugo Savala did get the spot off Chad Townsend, which is about time. I tweeted over the weekend, like, Townsend's it's just a disgrace, the type of footy he's thrown up as someone who's meant to be more experienced. Like, I don't care if you're a veteran and you can't run dynamically and defend effectively, but if you are your kicking is that bad consistently, like if you're consistently making that many errors after that long in the league, man, it's a disgrace. So great to see Savala come in. Homeschool, how are we doing? We're doing good, baby. We did the dynasty, we did the fantasy double, back to back in the NBA fantasy. So now we're just all eyes. Everything chips in on NRL Supercoach season, baby. That's how we are. Dawn, how are you, my brother? Broncos, nothing really interesting. Reynolds is named. It's all good. Jaden Hunt gets the start. With what's his face, Ricky's still out. Nothing to write home about over there. Yeah, Seo Wong keeps his spot. So, and Victor Radley is back. Nat Butcher's actually gone to prop. I think that could be the case. Like, Seo Wong is a really high waiver. So if you want my summary on waiver so far, Talangi 1, Wong 2, like, get your hands on Wong, take the risk. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with taking the risk on Siwa Wong. What he's putting out is really solid. The bench suits him too, I think, like that. And Butcher playing prop. Sharks, Siegs, yeah, nothing here that's too crazy. Garrick's hit upside. Faulolo looked pretty good though, didn't he? So that's the interesting one to keep an eye on, Faulolo, for maybe this season, maybe future seasons. I don't know how old he is, whatever, but he looked like a bit of a player. Harodi hit that crazy line break try that came out of nowhere. Don't know how. I wouldn't overbuy into that. Lehigh looked solid, bit of junk time as well for Ola. Otherwise, it was looking pretty grim. Ben Travojevic strung a few good games together. He's really injury prone, but whilst ever he's doing that, if in deep leagues as a CT dub 2RF, definitely a play. I think the Sharks really missed Teague Wilton. Billy Burns wasn't much chop, despite a few years ago people on Twitter trying to tell me that Burns was better than Wilton. He's absolutely not. So I hope that story's been put to rest. Jesse Colquhoun, who's in the reserves, he's more interesting to me than Burns. So, yeah, that's my take on that. Rabbitohs Cows on Saturday. Trelly in the... People asking about Jaden Sullivan. Man, he has a sick running game. Really well built for Supercoach, but he is really injury prone. It's calves and hammies a ton for Solo, so I think he's definitely fine for a plug and play. This is over in Perth, so just bear that in mind. Like, I don't know how much effect that has, but yeah, totally fine plug and play. People who jumped on Clifford, you saw the upside when he scored a double against Penrith, and then you saw sort of what he is on the weekend more often than not, but he's still a totally fine play in a year where halves are sought after. I said Bateman won't last long. I don't know like how long he sticks around. He looks terrible out there. A guy whose scores haven't really conveyed to how good he looked on the field was Peter Mamo, so I'm hoping he sort of ticks up. Lockie Hubner, he hits some upside, but yeah, he's more of just a toiler, and he's not really relevant in draft, I don't think. Eels Raiders, Iongi hit upside finally, which is sick for owners. He's not a buy low, but he's a guy to keep an eye on. He's not going to do that every week, obviously, right? But the work rate's there, and he's like that. Got that 10 meters out from the line, footwork and speed. It's really tantalizing. He kind of, at this juncture, he's a little bit like Teddy. He's more tackle breaking, work rate driven. Maybe like Dylan Edwards more. Maybe that's a bit better. But like Dylan Edwards isn't the guy that I'm worried about when he's 10 meters from the line, like Teddy back in the day and Iongi looks to be. So yeah, really interesting prospect. Definitely next year and future years, he's gonna trend up. I wouldn't overvalue him until the ball playing improves. I would not overvalue him, but definitely awesome to see those signs from him on the weekend. It wasn't the only time he's shown some prowess with the ball, but yeah, looked really good on the weekend. Really impressive. On the other side of the field to him, his opposing number hasn't looked good this year, KO weeks. So yeah, he's not a buy low. Like, he's a luxury stash week. So he nearly hit upside. The line break got called back. But yeah, he's just not really part of their offense down there at the Raiders. He's really not a big part of it. So it's just a work rate thing, and hope that he, scores one of his line break tries or gets a crazy kick return line break, which can happen, but obviously not enough to be justifiable. The Riley Smith thing, that was a bit weird. Don't know how much that's going to keep impacting Hopgood, but he's a stash if you're desperate at hooker, just to see if something more comes of what he's putting out. We already had a chat about Matty Nicholson. He's looking good. I love his footwork. Storm Warriors. Grant Anderson is back on the wing. He is a perfect plug and play. He does a job for you. And with the issues that the wingers are facing down there, you probably got a couple more weeks of him. So really interesting one. I thought Moses Leo looked pretty good. Didn't score well, but he actually looked at times pretty solid. So he's an interesting one. Future years, see if he comes on. We didn't see the Warriors last week, so that's all pretty standard. Stefano hit upside. It's just the minutes with him. They could trend up. That's the thing. Like, as I said in the Discord, he's a luxury stash. What else? Liero does a job for you. Fucking Katoa has been epic. Eli Katoa has been absolutely ripping this year. No try on the weekend. Still hit 95. The weekend prior, he dropped that ball just as well. Would have hit a try there. So just, yeah, he's finding ways to hit upside, which is like crazy at the 2RF position. Kyle McCarthy in the next game comes in for Schiller. The Knights have not looked good the last two games, but they've been pretty beaten. Thomas Kant's really interesting. He's got a bit of classic and fantasy buzz. Draft-wise, he's a plug and play. Definitely do a job for you. The work rate and the base is going to be there. He looks dynamic as well. yeah, totally fine. Plug and play and just see what happens. But Lucas will come back, and Lucas will take that job back, and then we have to see what happens to Thomas Carr. But he's definitely a player of the future for sure. Really good Supercoach game. West Tigers front, Skelton comes back in. Nothing else really to write home about for the Tigers. Luai's back. That poor bugger, Finu, had the injury in the head knock. So yeah, not his best outing. I want to see him play a bit more than what he did. Yep, Team A keeps on keeping on. I wouldn't bother with Samuel. I was expecting better things. He just hasn't really looked like much. He has been a bit injured, a bit underdone, but yeah, Bolo keeps looking epic, but it just, yeah, there's a few mouths to feed, but yeah, if ever he gets 60 minutes, he's a freak. Oh, Jaden Brayley's hooking from the start because Phoenix Croxton. Oh, so they've gotten rid of, because old mate was injured, eh? Because what have they got here? Yeah, Jack Cogger finger. So that's a bit different, Crossland to 7. It won't have too much impact, I don't think. And that's it. And there's no more questions. And I'm not going to stick around too long. I did let everyone know when this was happening. So yeah, if no one's got any issues, if they did have issues, they'd be in here. A lot of questions in the Discord have been answered. It's a bit earlier than usual just because I got to the gym a bit earlier, so that might have thrown a few people off, but that's all good. I've recorded it, so I chucked the quick talk about the team lists onto Spotify and whatnot. But yeah, if there's no other questions, I'm going to wrap it up. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else to discuss, really. I guess I could quickly talk about what I've got to do. So my issue is I've got Humphreys and Cole, so I'm in big trouble in my main league. I'm actually looking at Chanel. This is a real bad week for him, but Chanel, he often gets through 20 to 30 tackles, which is a really good floor, and then you just hope that he runs the ball or just creates something, gets a bit lucky to sort of come into the 50s. He's the guy I'm looking at. And actually, I'm not sort of afraid to play Sullivan. I'm happy to do that if I don't feel like wavering, because I think Chanel I might need to waiver for my league. And then Savala I'm also happy to play. So I've got a few options. It's the first time in the season I have to really start scrapping. I've had injury after injury, but my bench has been alright. And now I've just been decimated this week. So I think it's been somewhere between like 11 in-game hamstrings and overall like 14 hamstrings or something, and I've copped 3 alone to my team, so pretty brutal, but yeah, we make do and we mend. So yeah, that's it for me. Alright fam, I'm gonna wrap it up. No last call for questions unless like the chat broke. I just checked that the chat didn't break, and I like people asking me questions. I'm not replying. Overall, like 14 hamstrings or something, and I've copped 3 alone to my team. So pretty brutal, but just yeah, we make do and we mend. So yeah, that's it for chat. All right, fam, I'm gonna wrap it up. All right, that'll do us then. Thanks to anyone who tuned in.